Cave Comedy Radio is brought to you by AdamandEve.com. Input the code CCR at checkout for discounts.
Let the word go forth.
Fool me once.
Are you fired up?
I'm not a crook.
Are you ready to go?
Shame on you.
It's Abe Lincoln's Top Hat, hosted by Ben Kissel.
Fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Are you feeling good?
I feel good.
You feel strong?
I feel good.
Good.
I feel like I'm my voice is the perfect voice for an ad for. Have you ever seen Two Brothers Moving?
Oh, yes.
Or Two Brothers Scrap Metal, where they're like, "You got scrap in the backyard? Well, come get it. We'll get it. What's the problem? We'll come to your house."
That's the thing. Some people saw 9/11 as a tragedy, and they're like, well, this is great for business. Look at all that scrap metal.
America.
All right, that's Marcus. I'm Ben. Joining us today, Tim Dillon. Thanks for being here, Tim.
Thank you for having me, both of you.
Oh, my God. You know how, some people go through their morning routine? Like, they wake up, maybe they take their morning pee, brush their teeth, drink a cup of coffee. I do all of those things, but before I do all of those things, I have to send 4 apology text messages for the rude things that I said the night before. I just do it all the time, and today was no exception. I was playing a game of catchphrase. I said I did not say the right words that inspired the word that I had to look at and describe to people, and then everybody in the room got mad at me, and then I had to send a bunch of different apology text messages, and I do this 4 out of 7 days a week. Every goddamn day I wake up, I have to send a message and apologize for the words that come out of my mouth. I was at the deli. Okay, I was hanging out with Ed Larson from the Round Table of Gentlemen. I'm at the deli, and the thing about this, there was 3 fires last summer, okay? And so I'm at the deli, at the deli. Not at the deli, around the deli, in surrounding homes. Okay. But I'm at the deli, so I'm like, you know what? There hasn't been a good fire in a while.
Right.
You know, and the guy looks at me stunned, and I'm like, why is he looking at me so stunned? I walk out, and Eddie's like, you fucking idiot. That place burnt down 2 years ago. So
yeah, that's do you hang around Lower Manhattan too and go, there haven't been any low-flying planes recently?
Yeah.
I'm like, what part of you thought that was okay?
I don't know. I was just, because I wanted, because with the other deli guy, we would watch all the fires.
Yeah.
And the fire trucks were there, and this guy is...
It was a community thing.
Yeah, he thought I was some sort of mobster. Well, there hasn't been a fire in a minute. Right. So think about maybe this is free beer tonight? I mean, it was awful. So I had to go into the deli guy, and I apologized to him this morning. Things are bad.
You didn't send him a text. This was a face-to-face.
I don't have his number. And I'll tell you, if I did have his number, I wouldn't have gone in for my sweet iced coffee over there. I would have just sent him an apology text. Anyway, that's not what this is all about.
No.
I can't deal with it. Let's talk about the first story of the day. This story is very upsetting. Marcus,
all right.
What is it?
Big Brother is watching. Now get used to it. Envisioning a future where privacy is a thing of the past, Mayor Bloomberg said Friday it will soon be impossible to escape the watchful eyes of surveillance cameras and even drones in New York City.
I wonder if any of these drones are going to pick up him putting on his human suit in the morning. He's a reptile.
He is absolutely a reptile, and he is doing a very bad job of hiding it. He acknowledged privacy concerns, but said, quote, "You can't keep the tides from coming in. You wait. In 5 years, the technology is getting better."
Well, that explains it. You know what I mean? It's like, well, you can't keep the tides from coming in. What does that means? You can't keep the Constitution from being shredded. You can't keep big government from literally looking at everything you do under the guise of security.
Yeah.
I just love that. And that's his explanation. Just a fun nature metaphor.
Well, either that
can't stop the sun from shining.
I mean, it feels
like
true,
that's not it.
The birds are chirping.
Right. Just a fun campfire metaphor for everyone.
You can't stop the tides, though.
It feels like the Constitution is in one of those old-timey cartoons in a lumber mill where it's sitting there on the conveyor belt and it's going closer and closer towards the gigantic buzzsaw, and he's like, well, I could maybe turn it off, but it's already there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just we're heading towards the national security state. Nothing's going to turn back the clock on that, unfortunately.
I love it. And I'm just excited for the conversations that they're going to have with these drones. There's going to be people watching the drone footage, and they're just going to be like, either that 14-year-old boy is masturbating or he's planning on blowing up the New World Trade Center.
Right.
We don't know which one it is.
Right.
Yeah, so Bloomberg said, you wait. In 5 years, the technology is getting better. There'll be cameras every place, whether you like it or not.
I love the threats.
Yeah, you just
5
wait.
years, this tide's really going to be in. It's going to be in, so there's going to be water over all of our heads.
So what does this mean? Okay, so everybody is going to be their own little reality television show star now. Every little action that you do is going to be watched.
Right.
And as we know, we've had those sort of studies where it's like reality TV. It's not real because there's a camera, which just by nature makes you act
Whose
differently.
job is it
Right.
to watch the footage?
Well, somebody who's
Right?
very, very
Somebody's
bored.
job, right? I mean, what are the requirements for that? We
Crusty
need-
pants,
right. We
bad
need,
teeth.
Right. We need somebody who doesn't mind, boredom on a level that, I mean, it's got to be the most boring, arduous job to watch people walk. I mean,
I guess so, but if you ever just sit in Union Square and you just people watch, you do get to see some fairly interesting things, usually drug
see,
use.
nothing's interesting anymore to me. That's the problem. Like nothing anyone does. I saw a guy walking. He had a cat on his head. The cat was perfectly
know
bad.
that
I was
guy.
like,
if you try to take a picture with him, he charges you $5.
does he? See,
Yeah.
to me, again,
I like that, though. I like
Nothing
that.
interesting. I'm just walking by. I'm like, okay, bouncing a
whatever.
cat on your head.
Completely desensitized
Well,
with
it's
New York.
sensory overload. It's not just New York City.
Yeah.
I think it's everyone everywhere. We're all
Yeah,
on sensory overload, so everyone is bored
Right.
and yet stimulated all at the same time.
So Bloomberg and the government basically said in a post 9/11 world, what they've said is we're facing these new threats and new challenges, and that they're taking unprecedented measures to secure the public, essentially from ourselves, because we have an immigration policy with tons of holes, and we allow people to come here that are dangerous, and we have people here right now that could be dangerous. So with those things being said, the government basically has a blank check to go and put cameras anywhere.
Yeah.
And read anybody's email, tap anybody's phone, because we're all suspects. I mean, it's not the same war where it was we're fighting a country. We're fighting loose bands of individuals who may be living
Well, it's
here.
very classic stuff. It's very McCarthy communist
Right.
era. Like, you, my friend, are for the Ruskies. And there's just a lot of finger pointing and things like that. I mean, I feel like this whole drone situation with the cameras, it's not going to really change the way that we live our lives to some degree, because I don't feel like we're the ones that they're actually targeting, though. Not
Right.
yet. It's still going to be in your poorer communities, and it's going to be in places where the elite, the Bloombergs of the world, are not going to be concerned about being filmed.
Yeah.
So it's really just going to affect.
Well, I wouldn't say that we're not the. I think they're going. I think it really, unfortunately, is going to be eventually everyone. It may start out what you're saying. It's always going to start in areas or places where people do not have the resources to kind of fight back, but it's going to always spread to. I mean, everywhere. I mean, we have red light cameras now where I'm from in Long Island.
I'll never forget when I got my
Right.
first mailed-in ticket.
Right.
That
I mean,
was unbelievably
These
upsetting.
things are spreading. They're going to be everywhere, and there's nothing you could do about it.
There was the good old days, when you could actually outrun the police.
Yeah.
Right.
Back in the day, if
Right.
the cops had to catch you, and if they didn't catch you, you won the day, and the cop was like, "Good job, buddy."
I tried.
But I'll be here
yeah.
again. I'll be again tomorrow. I'll be right here on this corner. looking for you.
I got a job. I needed to open a checking account. I was trying to deposit money into my checking account. It was an account that I had. It was just dormant. I needed 3 forms of ID to just deposit money into the account.
Yeah.
And I said to the people at the bank, I said, do you realize this would be like, they're like, well, a lot's gone on since the mortgage crisis. I'm like, you're comparing my $5 deposit to the mortgage crisis. Like, there's 3 managers in Chase, by the way, talking about my account with $1 in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Meanwhile,
yeah.
people in Wall Street are expensing
Right.
prostitutes and
We've-
cocaine buffet parties.
gone crazy. So
Which we got to get tickets
Right.
to those cocaine buffet parties.
I would love that. I would absolutely. But see, it's the thing. A guy like me, I don't have $1 million in the bank of Chase. They don't care. So it's like every stupid arcane rule, I don't get around any of it. Whereas people with the resources are going
Right.
to get around it. It's the same thing with this stuff. If you don't have attorneys, lawyers, I mean, you're going to be. Look, I mean, if you go into court and you got caught with drugs, and you get a public defender, then you're going to jail.
Oh, you're
Oh yeah,
done.
that public defender is just there to nap.
If you go in with a good attorney, you're going to be okay. It's
You're going to have
very
a
similar.
shitload of legal fees.
Right. That's true.
So this is kind of fun, though, because Bloomberg's an independent, and he was a former Republican, but he wanted to be elected in New York.
But this is also the nanny state. This is the
Right.
this is the Obamas. This is we want you to eat different things. We want you to be healthy. If you want health care, you have to treat your body a certain way. We're all in this together. We're all on the boat. I mean, this is what the liberals and the people that I disagree with all the time. And I wouldn't call myself a conservative, but I do
But
value.
you are a Republican by definition, right?
What's the definition? I mean,
when you filled out your
registered Republican.
Yeah, I'm from Long Island, and
you have to be. You have a choice.
You know what I mean? I mean, but the reality of the situation is, I'm very skeptical about any type of government intervention. I'm from Long Island. I was there during Hurricane Sandy. I saw what FEMA did for everyone. Nothing.
Right.
I see.
But they canceled that New York City marathon.
Right.
That was good.
I see what and that's a perfect government thing. Cancel something that's bringing revenue into the city. So that we can more. I mean, that's a perfect liberal thing. It's always liberal policies always start out from this idea of we're going to keep you safe, we're going to keep you thin, no more soda, fatso, we're going to give you health insurance, and then at the end of the day, what they come down to is, by the way, we don't know if you're drinking that soda or not, so there's going to be cameras, and that drone better not catch you with a Kit Kat. Like that's what happens because you got to realize they want total control. And when you want total control, which is the conservatives want total control when it comes to religious fundamentalism.
Yeah. But if you are on drone duty and you're with your buddies, you got to have a drinking game. Every time you see somebody eating a Kit Kat, drink. I mean, they'll be sloshed by 3 p.m.
Right.
So let me ask you, Tim, what was harder, coming out as a Republican in New York City or coming out as gay in Staten Island?
Well, I've never been. It's Long Island. I know, but it doesn't matter. I worked in Staten Island. I will always be around those type of people. I hate elitists and liberals and intellectuals, and I don't like them. I don't feel they have a heart. I think I'd rather homophobes and racists because I think they can be gotten to. I think you can reach them. I think you could change them. I think you could change those people because their belief systems are because of lack of experience. Okay, that's a whole different thing. Intellectuals' belief systems are an orthodoxy of literature they've read. Now to crack that requires years of therapy.
But couldn't you
that's
argue?
A tough thing. I mean, I could sway a guy who doesn't like gay people much quicker than I could convince somebody who's read 20 books that the free market's a good idea.
Right.
What if you? But what about just playing devil's advocate here? But what if that homophobe is basing his knowledge or his beliefs on one book, the Bible?
Sure.
That's impossible.
Yeah,
and that's fair, and that's fair. What I would say to that person is, and to that argument that yes, a lot of people do base beliefs on the Bible, and those are religious beliefs. But I will tell you this: the homophobes who are biblically, and I don't mean the God hates fags people because they're crazy, but I mean religious fundamentalist homophobes that I've met are the nicest people I've ever met. Yeah. I've never met nicer people than fundamentalists.
Well, they hate
who will
the
sit
sin,
down
they
with me and go, listen, you're the greatest guy, you're the funniest guy. There's this kid I used to debate with who was a very good-looking kid. He had ice blue eyes like a husky, so I spoke to him all the time. I used to judge debate tournaments and give him the win every time because he'd be up against some liberal with acne who's like, yeah, and I'd be like, you don't. His name was like Micah or something. This kid's a sweetheart of a guy and will tell me, Tim, unfortunately, you're probably going to go to hell, but you're a great guy and we love you. I mean... Again,
let's always be reassured that hell isn't real.
But if you're a real Christian, if you're really getting your information from the Bible, then you have to love people. So what I would say is I would still rather somebody who disagrees with my lifestyle or believes I'm going to hell who treats me like a person. So many people in New York City don't treat me like a person, and they think I'm great. You know what I mean? Like they think that they don't subscribe to any belief. They wouldn't mind if I blew people in the street, but if I bring up an idea that bothers them,
that's a good day on drone duty.
Right. That's a great.
Tim Dillon's back there in the Greenwich Village blowing a bunch of dicks. Ronnie, get over here.
But if I say something like teen pregnancy is not a good idea. That's not a good idea.
Right.
They get mad at me. Single motherhood's not a good idea.
Who gets
they get mad at me? People who disagree, people who don't want to be offended, people who say that single motherhood.
I can't imagine there's too many people who think teen pregnancy is a great idea.
That's absolutely untrue. That's absolutely untrue. There were ads in the subway recently that.
No, but those ads were anti-teen pregnancy.
I know, and people got angry because
they get angry. Those ads are great. Every time I see one of those ads,
I'm angry.
Like, oh, right.
No, but that's interesting though that you like those ads though, because that's all taxpayer money going to them, and I'm fucking so broke right now. I don't think the government needs to be putting any of the poor on the pounds thing. And when I see the NYC logo on the bottom of a poster about teen pregnancy, shut the fuck up.
I don't know. I'd rather taxpayer money go to that than a bunch of drones that are watching us do whatever we do. I think that people got mad.
Probably
because
watching a lot of teens get pregnant.
Teen pregnancy has been stigmatized. They don't like people that are doing that. And what happens is people don't realize that if you look at statistics, okay, kids who are raised in an environment with two parents are less likely to commit crime. They're less likely to go to jail. They're more likely to finish school. That's statistically true. Okay? If you look at the black and white achievement gap, it completely disappears when you take away any illegitimacy. Meaning black kids raised in a two-parent household and white kids raised in a two-parent household do the exact same on every test and in life in general. That disproves racism. I mean, anyone.
Well,
so
it is tough though when you're growing up.
The biggest predictor about crime is illegitimacy. That's the biggest statistical predictor.
I mean, I agree with you. But the liberal argument that I actually agree with as well, obviously a two-family home is very, very important to have. If you're an African-American dude...
home,
a two-parent home. But if you're a black dude, you have a better chance of going to prison than you do college. And so a lot of these people, we can talk about the stop and frisk if we want to do that story real quick. But a lot of these people are ripped away from their wives and from their children because of the corrupt legal system, especially in New York City.
I'm in agreement with the corrupt legal system, and I'm in agreement with people not having resources to get attorneys to defend themselves. But I do think that statistically,
there are some deadbeat dads. But there is also an institution that is privatized prisons that take black men away from their families, which obviously leads to a lot more single
But I think that we're looking at the issue of marriage. I mean, babies are born out of wedlock. So I don't think an institution is ripping somebody away before they get a chance to get married. I think it's just the norm now that babies are born out of wedlock. That's the norm. It's the norm in white culture. It's becoming the norm. People used to get married and make a commitment to each other before they had a child. Now they don't. And the difference there is a big deal in terms of statistically the kids that are raised in those environments are more likely to unfortunately have a tougher time in life.
Yeah.
And then the government comes in and says, well, we're going to replace a family with programs. With Head Start and this and that and early childhood education and we'll give the kids.
Those are very, very important programs, though, because my mother did foster care.
But they do nothing. I mean, if you look,
well, they don't work. I don't think
they don't work. I mean,
they don't work in New York City.
They're important. They're important for the people who work administering the program. If your job is to administer the program, which is one of the biggest Democratic constituencies is
the poor.
The poor, but also government workers. It's people whose job. I mean, if your job is to give food stamps, you have no interest in people getting off food stamps.
No, you want to keep them on the drug.
You have no interest, right?
Well, let me ask you this.
That's a whole nother middle class. There's a whole nother middle class that makes money off of the poor, and those are the people who obviously run all these programs, and this is their entire lives. But New York City is a specific example where it doesn't really work.
Am I ruining my career here, by the way?
No, you're doing great.
What are you talking about?
No, I just mean this is like if I feel like now I'll never be on television other than Fox News. Like this is
dude. Fox News is the one you want to be on. They're the number one news network.
This is the only thing.
I don't think you're saying anything controversial here. I mean, my question to you is, what is the alternative? Because I mean, what you're talking about here is you're talking about
freedom. Freedom's the alternative. I know it sounds stupid. It sounds like something Sean Hannity would say. Freedom's the alternative. People making decisions and taking responsibility for those decisions is the alternative.
I like this, Tim. I think that it's a good idea in theory, but this is where conservatives. They're idealistic about human intelligence.
Yeah.
This is where conservatives think that like everybody knows what's best for themselves, and in reality,
that's
they don't. I'm telling you, they don't because I've been on the subway.
Who knows better? Bloomberg knows better. So
Bloomberg doesn't know better. But I will say this: my mother did foster care ever since I was 13 years old, and so I've had dozens and dozens of foster brothers and sisters, and most of them come from parents who
Do you keep in touch
dumb.
with them?
Yeah.
Do you send them apology texts sometimes?
Oh, no. Thank God my little brother is such a tyrant. I never have to apologize to him, which I really like. But those programs like Head Start, and this is in a smaller town in Wisconsin, so it's a different situation. I think the funds were allocated much more appropriately than they do here, and I think the democratic system is so monopolized in New York that it's completely corrupt. You have those Vito Lopez characters, and it's really just a thug bunch of characters. So I think that's different here.
You're saying that you saw them work.
They were crucial.
Listen, and
crucial
I'm
to
not
these
saying
kids.
Let's eliminate a social safety net. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, can we streamline it? Can we make it more effective? Do we have to have a million different programs? Can we have several programs? And I do believe, and I've always believed that the government, business. One of the reasons why business is an interesting thing, and one of the reasons why I disagree with a lot of these bailouts and things like that is business. You have to make a profit to survive.
I disagree with the bailouts as well.
You have to make a profit to survive. If you don't make a profit, you suffer the fate of that, meaning you go out of business. So you, as a business, you have to adhere to certain guidelines and principles. The government can print money, continually hire people. It's an endless black box. There's no accountability. There's no market forces that work on the government ever. There's no supply and demand. There's nothing other than a snake oil salesman politician saying we need another 100 billion. There's no market forces that work on the government at all. So these programs that are put in place to help people end up metastasizing and become this bureaucracy, and they don't really help anyone. And I love all of these people that were like pro healthcare and pro this and pro that. Now they're all upset because of drone cameras and they're gonna tell us what to eat. But this is the logical. This is the end game.
Okay, here's
of course.
I want to talk about the healthcare thing for just a little bit because I think this does play into it.
Absolutely.
It does definitely play into it. Like, how do you feel about, I understand, like, the nanny state, I don't agree with it a whole lot either. It has a lot of problems that needs to be streamlined. What do you believe that regulation is taking away freedoms? Because I say we wouldn't need healthcare in this, we wouldn't need nationalized health care if the costs of medical care in this country weren't so astronomically high when they don't need to be.
Absolutely. Here's one of the reasons that the cost of medical care is high. You couldn't charge $3,000 for a donut.
Yeah.
You know why? Because no one would buy it. Because there's a free market. Nobody would buy it, okay? But if you had a program
is there only one donut on Earth?
Okay, no, there's several donuts.
But they only make them one at a time.
Now, let's say you
there's
have
one donut a year that gets made. That's it. Dunkin' Donuts just got one, and they need to make their entire year's profit
then
off of that one
then
donut.
You can make more than $3,000. What I think, if there was a program called Donut Care, like Medicare, that would guarantee a percentage of that $3,000 and pay it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Then the donut manufacturer would say, well, we're not going to charge what people can afford. We have a government entity that's going to come in and pay for a portion of this. We're going to jack the prices up insanely. Also, you can't go and buy health insurance in another state because the Commerce Department said, no, you can't go buy health insurance.
I think the health care bill right
state.
now is a little bit muddled, and I think it'll get fixed throughout time. But the one thing, I think you can make a very strong conservative argument. This is a health care bill that in the 90s, Republicans were on board with.
Yeah.
And you can make a very strong conservative argument that everybody should have to buy health care. There's a certain amount of, independent, pick yourself up by the bootstraps and buy some health care. So when you get sick and you haven't had health care for 30 years and you go to the emergency room
I
because
think
you've been
that's
slamming
not the
down
biggest
hoagies.
fear. I think
that's the biggest amount of cash.
That wouldn't be necessary if the prices weren't so high.
Correct. If you could buy, so
I
you got to
think
look
you can
at
make a
why
strong-
the prices have been driven up. You got to look at why
Well, they're
everything.
going up more now.
Why does everything the government get involved with? It becomes, the prices end up going up. It becomes extremely inefficient. I always give the example of the DMV. Would you go to the DMV if there was a private place to get your license? No, you wouldn't go to the DMV. It's the only place you have.
Post office is another good example.
These are places where they go. So now the government's going to come into healthcare basically, and there's going to be rationing. People made fun of death panels. There's going to be rationing. My grandmother got I forget what it was. She got a pig valve put in her heart. She was 82. She's now 86. She's very healthy.
That was just for fun, though.
It was just for fun. It was something that we did as a family together.
Yeah, I want a pig valve in my heart. But just get one.
But here's the thing: on if she was on a government healthcare plan, they would take the amount of that operation and cost, and they would say, well, how many years is her life expectancy? And they would say, well, the operation doesn't pay for itself, and she wouldn't have got it.
But
so there are going to have to be choices made. There is going to be cost cutting. So you're putting a bureaucrat in charge of your health and and to me, that's not what should be happening.
But I think the key word in that sentence is if she was on government health care. You don't have to be on government health care.
But
I have health care through my job.
Will private insurance be able to compete with an entity that doesn't have to make a profit?
I think
they're going to be an
will.
entity that does not have to make a profit. Companies are going to dump people on government health insurance. This is what's going to happen.
It's not going to be I think if you can, the government healthcare is not going to be the greatest healthcare of all time. It's just going to be the base healthcare.
Right.
It's going to be a government car. It's going to be a Yugo of the automobile
But look at
industry.
food stamps. How many people are on food stamps now? Millions of people.
We have 30 million people. I think maybe 40 million people. On
if you
food
can
stamps,
get the statistics, I think it's more than that. I think I think it almost is more than that.
I totally agree with you. I think the food stamp. I think it's a real epidemic. And as a matter of fact,
It's 15% of Americans.
15% of Americans are on food stamps.
So we're looking 30 to 40 million people, and
46 million.
46 million.
46 million.
And I was in line, and of course, obviously
Right.
in Brooklyn, there's a lot of people who are on food stamps, and you can see the culture. I also know some people who were on food stamps like WIC with foster care once again growing up. That it really did help feed these younger kids and things.
Yeah,
and
I'm not saying get rid of these programs.
I think that it's one thing with food stamps is, and it's the same thing that I'll say with like congressional term limits. Maybe a lifetime of food stamps should not be allowed.
Right.
You lose your job. You got some family. You got some kids.
Right.
A couple of years of food stamps could probably do you good. And I think it's humane for the government to do that.
Yeah.
Like, they say so many people are on food stamps, but isn't the rise of food stamps also related to the crash, like to the rise in unemployment?
Listen, I'm not, and I listen. And for full disclosure on this show, because I talk about it in my act, I've had a house foreclosed on. I have drank and drugged my way through. I've spent tons and tons of money I shouldn't have spent. I had 1 month of food. I was on food stamps for 1 month.
Yeah.
And I go to lots of steakhouses and they wouldn't take the food stamps, so I couldn't. It didn't work for me. It didn't work for me. I appreciate the people it does work for, but it's not working for me.
Yeah. They prefer mostly.
And so
shit
I have invited so much horror in terms of myself. My credit score right now, I have no idea what it is. But here's the thing. You got to look at Thomas Sowell, who's a very, very smart guy once. They asked him about why people are poor. Thomas Sowell said that's the wrong question. People throughout history have always been poor. They've always been poor. It's been a constant. They've always been poor. Why do some people get rich? Why do some people get rich?
That's the question that's worth asking. Yeah.
It's a question that's worth asking. And
I like the question as well.
Some people, liberals believe it's because the people who've gotten rich have taken something from other people that they deserve. They've gone in and taken, and in some cases that's true.
Exactly.
Some
it's not all, but that's definitely true.
But in some cases it's true.
But I will say there is also an extraordinary amount of nepotism, and a lot.
Yeah,
of
listen. There's an extraordinary amount of nepotism. Of course, there's a lot of nepotism in anywhere. Go to Europe and everyone's related to.
I mean, you think about it here in America. You have two people that are going for a job at, like a business firm,
right?
And guy A couldn't afford the dues to Kappa Sigma Delta. Guy B could afford the dues. Who do you think is going to get the job if Kappa Sigma Delta is hired?
I will tell you this. Guy B, living in America, still has, or Guy A, whoever couldn't afford the dues, I forgot. He still is going to have a better chance of getting a job somewhere. I mean, yes, I know that. But you got to look at
why. We all agree. We're all with the 1% here.
Education is very important, but also, I mean, I'm a guy that had a 2-year degree. I didn't finish college. I was always kind of able to keep myself going.
Yeah.
And finding jobs. I found a job recently. I think a lot of it is mindset, and a lot of it is, if unfortunately. If you do get, if you commit if you get a felony, that's gonna restrict you from getting a job.
Also can't vote.
Yeah.
That's a big problem. And what are the indicators for that? Well, it's going to go back to illegitimacy. It goes back to that. So if you're a family
and illegitimacy is directly linked to poverty, though.
No, poverty is linked to illegitimacy. That's the thing. Illegitimacy is the first thing that breeds poverty. It's not the other way around. It's not poverty breeds illegitimacy. And why is illegitimacy a big thing? Because it's not frowned upon. Things that are not frowned upon, you get more of. And it's subsidized. The government will come in and say, okay, well, you've had a kid, we're going to help you, and here's a bit. Now, listen, obviously, it's the right thing to do.
And also,
it's the kind thing to do.
What is the alternative? Is letting the child starve?
No, well, here's the thing.
Or be homeless? I mean, do
you want to save generations of children, or do you want to just doom everyone? I mean, that's the thing. Single motherhood is celebrated now. It's celebrated because celebrities do it all the time. It's incredibly selfish and it hurts children. And I mean, that's what it does. I mean, if you look statistically, it hurts children. So it used to be where a woman would have a child out of wedlock and people would go, "Oh, that was a bit. What did she do?" Now it's like, "Oh, great," and everything. And it's easy for us to say.
I agree with you.
Yeah, it's
facts.
I
agree with you when it comes to the celebration of like teen pregnancy and like single motherhood. It should not be like, fantastic, you did everything right. But at the same time, the other side of the coin is shame, guilting, and
shame's great. I love shame. I'm from an Irish Catholic family. It's great. Shame is good. Shame's important. Shame keeps you alive. Shame keeps you alive.
Shame does not work for me. I had a coach when I was in high school. I was a wrestler. My sophomore and junior year, there was a coach. His name was Shorty Fleas, and I'll tell you, he was an asshole.
Shorty Fleas,
and he was a state champion.
Shorty Fleas.
That was his name, man. I'm telling you, it sounds like a bed bug company or something.
Right.
But he was a state champion. He was a total asshole, and that's the way he ran everything. You just like, you're too fat, you're too slow, everything like that. Okay, so I was like 14 and 14. I was doing like relatively well. My senior year, a coach named Jay Yenter came in.
Yeah.
Jay was amazing. All he did was tell me how great I was. All he did was like really prop me up. I went 38 and 8. I think I got third in state. And so that sort of like positive reinforcement was very, very important for me. So I think in a culture that like shames single motherhood and
I'm not
shames
saying shame.
people,
I'm joking around. What I'm saying
think,
is that I think that social norms change. I mean, maybe this is what's supposed to happen in society. But this whole "we're in it together" mentality is not good. It's not good because we're not in it together. It's unnatural that we're in it together. You know what's natural? The lion eating the gazelle. I mean, as sad as it is, that's the natural world.
It's completely natural that we're in it together because we would have gotten eaten by the lion.
Yeah, we're a tribal society.
We had to figure out how to make traps, and we had to figure out how to.
I understand we're in it together to a certain extent, but the reality is, it's not my business to raise your children. It's not my business to subsidize your mistakes in life. I have to worry about myself. You have to worry about yourself. It's not my. If gay people are promiscuous and contract diseases, it's not my.
But it will be your situation if that kid ends up growing up and then he fucking like turns to crime and then next thing you know you're on the subway and he wants to shoot up.
It's not only my fault that you had the kid. It's also my fault that he's becoming a criminal.
Well,
at what point? Is it not my? At what point am I allowed? I mean, do you understand what I'm saying?
But the logic. I totally agree. The fact is, if you get on a plane and that plane crashes, you don't know any of those people,
right?
But those are the people that you just had the most important.
Well, what I'm saying is, by subsidizing illegitimacy, you are only going to get more of it, and you're only going to get more crime. This is not working. If this worked, Ben, you would look at the statistics now and they would be better. The statistics are worse now for poor people than they have been. And a lot of it, yes, is because the economy has changed, but a lot of it is because these liberal social programs have destroyed families. They've destroyed families. They destroy families.
This is a chicken and an egg argument.
I'm not sure a chicken and an egg argument at all. There were more. The black family before all of these programs was more intact. It survived generations of slavery. That's amazing. To survive generations of slavery.
Great, but
no. Thomas Sowell wrote, the definitive book on the subject where he said the black family survived slavery, which
the black family was tore apart throughout most of slavery.
Yeah, but in the 1950s, the black family was most black kids were being born in houses with a mother and a father,
right.
And then liberal social program. And by the way, black teenage unemployment in the 50s was lower than white teenage unemployment.
Okay.
Lower. Now, because of the social programs...
Well, I would assume that's because white kids were in school.
Because of the social... Not always. No, not always. But because of the social programs that supposedly were designed to help people, and it's not only black people, it's...
Of course. Well, the vast majority of people on food stamps are white.
Rural areas, of course. I mean, but if you just look at that, all of these programs that are designed to help people, they don't help people.
I agree.
They do not help people. Statistically, they do not help people.
They need to be
the courts
revamped.
are corrupt.
That is true.
The courts are corrupt. Black people have it much tougher in the legal system than white people. It's
much
completely
tougher.
unfair. Absolutely, I agree with you.
When I did my jury duty at Kings County, it was grand jury, so I saw 30 cases. There was only one white person that I saw, and he was there, as a victim. It was all black, all Hispanic people, and this is, Brooklyn. I live in an area where it's very white. There's a lot of white people in Kings County,
it's absolutely
and I did not see one of them.
Absolutely true. I just think I always say when the government comes in and says we're going to solve a problem, whatever that problem is,
right.
I don't believe it's solved by government intervention. In many cases, I don't believe that the bailouts are going to solve the economy. I think you gave billions of dollars to a bunch of bankers who put it in the bank and didn't.
You look at like GM. They've paid back their entire debt to the government. Detroit's starting to come back. I actually agree with the auto bailout. I thought it was really important. You would have tons and tons of people.
Auto bailout's one thing, but the financial bailout.
one is a whole nother
that's one of the ones I was
and
talking
also,
about.
I don't think you could have one without the other.
Awful.
Like, I think if the government's going to come in and take over everything, it's going to take over everything.
Yeah.
They're going to tell us what to eat. They're going to tell us what to drive. They're going to tell us what jobs to do. They're going to tell us where to live. This is the equivalent of Brave New World. This is what's going to happen.
No, I completely agree with you on that. New York City will drive anybody absolutely nuts, and it'll turn everybody slightly more Glenn Beck than they ever thought they could be.
I just want to be.
But lastly, though, I guess we have to wrap it up. Huh?
Yeah, we have to have another show to record.
Oh, all right. So, lastly, though, how does it feel? Because you talk about like the nuclear family and all these things. You're really on the same side as a lot of like evangelical preachers who discuss like focus on the family and all these things, and they are absolutely.
I think I'm on the same
they
side.
Hate you.
Right.
So how does that? I mean, because that's
Right.
what a gay Republican.
But I'm not looking at it
is
from the biblical sense. I'm looking
Right.
at it from a very rational, logical sense where I cannot be proven wrong. If you
So
take
how
out
does it feel when you
statistics,
go in, but how does it feel going into a voting booth and voting for a Republican Party?
I
that
didn't.
is-
I didn't.
You voted for Obama in this.
I
past.
didn't vote. I was my precinct was in Long Island. I was in
Yeah.
New York City. I didn't vote. What I would say is that my beliefs are backed up by numbers.
Yeah.
Your beliefs are backed up by emotions.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with
Well,
that.
there's numbers and emotions.
No, there's not. There's if your beliefs were backed up by numbers, you'd be able to say, see, Tim, since all of these government programs were instituted, this amount of people is now doing better, and you can't point to that. All you can say is that, well, the new realities of the world, and well, what are we going to let people starve? And all of those things are good questions, but they're emotional-based arguments. Rational-based arguments
Numbers are emotion, but like the Wall
If
Street,
illegitimacy
Wall
is the
Street
biggest
confident-
predictor of crime.
We live in a confidence-based economy, for example.
Okay.
It's numbers, right?
Right.
But it's emotion. How do you feel the country is going?
Right.
That's what dictates the numbers. So you can't. That's one of my least favorite statements. Is like I just follow the numbers. We're human beings. We
Well,
have
no,
minds. We're emotional
It's not
beings.
following the numbers, but it's looking at
but the
at
numbers
facts.
are a reflection.
There are facts.
There are numbers, and there's a show on ESPN called Numbers
Right.
Never Lie.
Right.
Numbers always lie. That's all that they do.
Right.
You can manipulate a number. We could do anything we want with numbers.
Right.
So it's really.
But see, when you say, how do you feel that preachers are against you or don't like you, I never look at the issue like that. I look at the issue as no one has to like me. No one ever has to like me, but I would prefer that people not ask me to contribute to something that I don't believe is helping. And
Right.
that's where I come from. I'm making my own decisions.
Mm-hmm.
I've never gotten really, other than that month of food stamps, everything I've ever attained in my life has been just from myself going out there and kind of doing it.
Right.
And I'm not saying that I was born a white guy in Long Island. I was born with a ton of advantages, okay? And if I was convinced that government programs helped people, I would be all for them. I'm convinced that they don't. I think they reinforce negative stereotypes about people. They perpetuate the idea that somebody is going to be able to create opportunity for you, which I believe is just not the way it works. So to me, I don't care why people believe a certain thing. I just think what's important is, I long for the days of being left alone. I don't care who likes gay people, and gay people hate that when I say that. They're like, gay people will be like, well, people gotta like. No one has to like anyone. That's a liberal thing. Everyone's got to hold hands and kumbaya.
So you don't think you've benefited at all from like Stonewall or the '65 Civil Rights
I'm not.
Act?
No, I did, but I don't. I believe I benefit more from gay people living their lives like human beings and going out there and being openly gay and
Right.
doing what
Whatever
everyone
you wanna
else
do.
does.
Yeah.
And time is going to change opinions. And yes, all of these things help people, but I think the reality of the situation is I'm not for like let's all like each other. I'm legally people should have the same rights.
Right.
Legally
So
people
obviously
should.
you're pro-gay marriage and things like that.
Yes. I mean, I'm pro all that because I don't think the state should discriminate against people. But also, I think I'm very much. I don't want to be anywhere near the government. I think the government's the most corrupt and evil thing in the world. Leave me alone. Let me do my thing. I want to be. I don't. If you don't like drones, if you don't like Guantanamo Bay, if you don't like any of that, you can't start talking to me about health care and
Right.
everything else because guess what? It's all going to end there. All the corruption of the Iraq War, the defense contractors, all of that stuff that you guys bring up, and you're right about it. It's all government stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And if you don't like that stuff, and you see where it ends, you have to be skeptical in the beginning because all those things started with great ideas. The Iraq War, everything was a great idea.
Well, I don't know if the Iraq
Yeah,
War
that
started
was
with a
not a
great
great
Well,
idea.
no, but it was
mean
the
it
idea
started
of
with a great idea.
we're gonna help people live in a democracy or whatever. On its face, it was not the worst idea, but look what happened and why. Because government's involved, and that's the thing. And you have nepotism, everything that you just and people It ended up being a horrible situation.
Yeah,
so
well, we
that's
could talk
my
forever
fear.
about the Iraq War, but we actually
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me.
I know.
No,
I feel
you're coming
bad.
back.
Thank you
whether you
so
like it
much.
or not.
It's
I
very,
appreciate
very
it.
fun.
Because I want to talk to you about regulation.
Does anyone have a conservative point of view on this show?
I'm a libertarian.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're actually we're pretty
Yeah, we're
conservative.
both pretty much
The only thing
libertarian.
I actually am liberal on is the semi-assault rifle ban, which definitely needs to take place.
I believe every child should have an assault rifle.
Yeah. So that's just a difference. I like it.
I don't know. I don't consider myself to be liberal or conservative. I just,
Right.
Every
this show is not,
every issue is different.
Well, I don't consider myself to be liberal or conservative either, but I think you certain points of view are controversial.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I don't think you said anything controversial.
No.
I agree with a lot of it.
Well,
all right, everybody. Well, that's
we'll see what
Marcus.
happens. Thank
I
you
am
so
Ben.
much.
Hey, no problem.
That's
man.
Tim Dillon. Check him out. Oh, we should plug our Twitters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because this will work well for me. The hate
will.
tweets can go to TimJDillon @gmail.com. Oh no, at Twitter. At Twitter.
And then I'm at Ben Kissel.
I'm at Marcus Parks.
We're very clever with our names.
very clever.
There'll be
indeed.
no hate mail. This is we have a great audience.
Yeah, most of our, I mean, we don't really care all that much.
Right.
It's just fun. I mean, because what we
Right.
say and what we do, it doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
Like, but nothing that we
does.
do. I mean, it's just, I don't know.
That's great.
I'm somewhat the nihilistic one.
Right.
Like,
right.
it just
Yeah,
doesn't
it is.
really.
Absolutely.
It's fun to talk
Drinking
about.
brews and being stoned, bro. Living life and loving
Living
life.
life. All right. Well, thank you guys so
All right,
much.
guys. Tim Dillon, thank you for being here. We'll talk to you very, very soon. Goodbye.
Later.